we've seen high-profile organisations' toxic cultures exposed. Sexual harassment at McDonalds and the CBI, long hours and burnout at Twitter, now X, years of coercive and abusive behaviour at Abercrombie and Fitch. We saw the final unravelling of WeWork, originally built on what now seems like cult-like behaviours. We've seen financial service organisations continue to grapple with misogynistic attitudes and behaviours as Goldman Sachs lost a $215 million lawsuit for gender discrimination. And public services and governments experienced failures too, as cultures of double standards and cover-ups in the UK government were exposed, and the Met Police in London faced allegations of systemic misconduct following the murder of Sarah Everard. These catastrophic failures demonstrate the worst in human behaviour. But workplace culture doesn't simply fail overnight. It starts with a tiny crack that slowly expands within our workplaces. Through my own research at Make It Human, I've identified the 10 signs of culture cracks. If we monitor for these, we can take proactive steps to build stronger, healthier workplaces and cultures. The first culture crack is being so busy. When success is measured in hours worked, the focus is on inputs over outputs. Presenteeism is celebrated. Employers are surveying and tracking hours worked or attendance, eroding trust. Long hours cultures in many professional and financial service firms have suffered, leading to burnout, even suicide. The second culture crack is double standards. When leaders say one thing but do something else. When you realise there's an executive level of catering or parking. When there are different rules for leaders versus everyone else for time spent in the office. And Partygate in the UK government is a good example of this. The third is frozen core. When managers are frozen in the middle of an organisation by process and bureaucracy. They lack feelings of psychological ownership. This can lead to blame cultures. I've seen many people absolutely thrilled to get to a management role, only to instantly feel deflated. They might have the title, but they have very little influence or ability to actually make decisions. The old model of management based on status, reward, power, hoarding knowledge is no longer relevant, and we need to empower this middle layer to make work feel meaningful and energising for everyone else. The next culture crack is silence. You might observe a lack of dialogue. In meetings, you get to the point where you ask for any questions and you're met with silence. This could indicate a lack of psychological safety. And this could prevent speaking up if poor behaviours are observed. It can also lead to a lack of ideas, lack of innovation, homogeneous thoughts, and it can make change and transformation really hard. The next culture crack is called culture clouds. This is individuals or small groups who undermine the culture through poor behaviour. For example, they trample on others, they fail to build relationships, they work in a non-values aligned way. And the challenge is very often that these people achieve results. So the way that they do this is overlooked. But what this can do is erode trust. People give up behaving well because they see the reward for shortcutting, for abrasive behaviours, and perhaps they decide to leave because this doesn't feel like a place that they will be valued and able to progress. The next culture crack is parent-child. It's that patronising tone. We know what's best for you, making decisions on your behalf, sugarcoating messages or withholding information. And this can result in blocking ideas or stemming ideas, creating dependency, making it hard to change and accelerate when you need to. The next is hero complex. This is when a company relies on the same group of caped crusaders ready to save the day. Often they're the people who shout the loudest. Perhaps they have confidence over capability. They're prepared to step on others, but they're often seen as a safe pair of hands. But this tendency can have a really detrimental impact on others. it feels again like a place that they can't advance or progress their careers. Next is history lessons. This is when you hear that phrase, we've tried that before. This suggests that people are stuck in the past. They're struggling to move forward and try different things, and they only hear what they want to, dismissing challenges. Next, corporate clones. This is when organisations are bypassing processes to bring in old pals, the old boys network. The result can be a lack of diversity, narrowing of thoughts. And finally, profit over purpose. When the only goal is seemingly financial success. Month to month, quarter to quarter, the focus is just on the numbers. But by doing so, you risk alienating those that this means very little to. And in actual fact, we can achieve both. It doesn't have to be either or. Our research shows that most company cultures are cracking. And not just the high-profile cases of catastrophic cultural failure that we've seen. We surveyed 305 people across the globe, and they completed a survey on culture cracks. And what we found is that 88% are experiencing at least one or more culture cracks today. 82% are experiencing two or more. History lessons, hero complex, and silence are the most commonly experienced. And interestingly, women report slightly more culture cracks than men. These findings are actually really consistent with other research. Culture researchers Sol and Sol found that people are 10.4 times more likely to leave if there's a toxic culture than because of what they're paid. And this actually was a big driver of the Great Resignation just after the pandemic. And in addition, other MIT research has found that women are 41% more likely than men to experience toxic cultures. So how do we make a difference? How do we build healthy, happier, more human cultures? Leaders certainly play a big role, but in truth, it involves all of us. We need to build workplaces, communities, cultures where people feel safe. They're able to contribute. They understand what good looks like, and they feel able to challenge or speak out when things deviate off course, and where people feel empowered, enabled, and equipped to develop and grow. The small actions, decisions, and behaviours all add up. These are what shape our cultures and guide how we feel and the actions that we take. Next time, I explore how we can get this right through focusing on the elements to nurture happy, healthy human cultures.